They cut me out.
Good morning. Good morning and welcome to Plymouth High School. On the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month of 1918, a temporary cessation of hostilities was declared between the Allied nations and Germany in our First World War. Commemorated as Armistice Day the following year, November 11th became a legal federal holiday in the United States in 1938. In the aftermath of World War II and the Korean War, Armistice Day became known as Veterans Day, a holiday dedicated to American veterans of all wars. In recognition of Veterans Day, Plymouth High School holds this annual convocation for our students and our community, reflective of our desire to thank all veterans, past and present, for their patriotic service for our nation. At this time, I ask that you please stand for the singing of the national anthem, which will be performed by the Plymouth High School Men's Ensemble under the direction of Mr. Ryan Van Antwerp.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Please be seated. This is always one of the programs that we look forward to each and every school year. We thank those members of our community who have joined us in celebrating Veterans Day today. On behalf of the students of Plymouth High School, we welcome you. Most importantly, we welcome those who are seated before us this morning. If you had not sacrificed in such a manner as you did, we would not be celebrating as we are today. Thank you once again. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming our veterans. We'd like to begin the program today with a video that our PHS broadcasting class, and in particular, student Juan Garcia, has put together. So I'll turn it over to Mr. Olson for a quick video, and then we'll continue.
To me, Veterans Day means freedom. Without the veterans going out and fighting for our lives, we would not be the land of the free.
Both of my grandpas served in the military, and because of that, I have a great appreciation for everyone who has made sacrifices. Thank you, veterans, for everything you've done for our country. It wouldn't be what it is today without you.
To me, Veterans Day symbolizes quite a few things. I had a grandfather who was a World War II, was in the Pacific Theater. I think of him on Veterans Day. The other thing that comes to mind with Veterans Day, I think of Memorial Day, which kind of gets overlooked a little bit. That's kind of at the end of the school year. And I wish that the two holidays were connected a little bit more, in people's minds that they were connected more. But to me, I think of all the people that have paid their, their life, their sacrifice, their time, their energy, their effort, so that we as just citizens can do what we want, say what we want, believe in what we want to believe, and do all those things that we love about being an American.
My son Nathan Chris is a sergeant in the U.S. Army. He went there right after high school, and Nathan was always one to not want to try new things, and so I had to take him there. One thing I've learned about him being in the military is he's not a great communicator, so I don't hear from him for long stretches of time. But when you have to let him go, his first deployment was in South Korea, and I will never forget putting him on that plane and watching that plane leave, and then realizing that I'm not going to see him for a whole year. I'm not going to be able to talk to him. And that was very difficult. And I think as veterans, people who, the community in general, sometimes don't realize how difficult it is to send your loved one, your son, your daughter, into a foreign land and not see them, not to hear from them, and not to know that they're okay. It was very difficult to put him, we would say goodbye, we would turn around and we would walk away, and that was the end. So I appreciate all that they do. Sometimes they don't talk about what they do because they can't talk about what they do, but they've earned our respect and they've earned our freedom.
I'd also like to say thank you to all the veterans that have served for us.
Thank you. I would just like to thank all the veterans for serving.
Thank you to all the veterans who have served our country. I couldn't imagine living a day without the freedoms that we have.
I want to thank our veterans for doing everything they do to serve our country. We appreciate it for all the freedom that we do have.
I'm just super, super thankful for the people that went ahead of us and sacrificed so that we could live in a free country and live and worship the way we want to. So thank you, veterans. We appreciate you.
That was wonderful. Thank you, Juan. Juan, where are you? Please stand and a round of applause for Juan Garcia for putting that together. Thank you, Juan. At this time, it gives me great privilege to introduce an annual guest, and we're so thankful that he has joined us for each of my 10 years at Plymouth High School for this very celebration. I want to introduce to you our mayor, Mr. Mark Center. Students, I think we take for granted sometimes how fortunate, as well as teachers, how fortunate that we are to have such a bond with our mayor and the city of Plymouth. They are our greatest supporters. Students and staff, please join me in welcoming our mayor, Mr. Mark Center.
Thank you, Mr. Condon. I truly appreciate. Hello. All right. There we go. I truly appreciate Mr. Condon bringing this program to Plymouth High School. Mr. Condon and I sort of came up together. I believe he started in the fall of 2007, and I began in January 1st of 2008, and it's been a great connection. And this is my 9th Veterans Day program for the high school, and I love every minute of it. I am not a veteran myself. However, this day means a lot to me. My father was a World War II veteran that left he graduated from high school in 1943. He weighed 125 pounds and left for Fort Dix, New Jersey in May of that year. And after a couple of months of training, went off to World War II, started in North Africa, and then went to Italy, and didn't come home until 1945, 2.5 years away from our great country, fighting battles over there. He was a medic and saw the worst of the worst. So this day means a lot to me. And again, I appreciate the connection that Mr. Condon has brought. The connection, especially the World War II vets, the Korean vets, the Vietnam vets, and the Middle East veterans, Afghanistan, and of course Iraq, with you, that connection. And it means a lot to me and my family. And I know when my kids were here, Riley graduated in 2010 and Meagan in 2013, and they beamed usually when I told my dad's stories here. So again, this means a lot to me this day. With that, I'm going to introduce a 2008 graduate, Captain Sean Flynn, a 2008 graduate of Plymouth High School. He attended West Point Academy, Military Academy, and was commissioned in 2012 after graduation. Captain Flynn was a tank platoon commander during his eight-month deployment in Kuwait in 2013. Captain Flynn was chosen for the funded legal education program and is currently a second-year law student at the University of Notre Dame. Upon graduation, Captain Flynn will be serving as a United States JAG officer. Captain Flynn is married to Anne Marie, and they live in South Bend, Indiana. Ladies and gentlemen, Captain Sean Flynn.
Thank you all for the opportunity to come here and speak today. I've been asked to talk about the meaning of Veterans Day. And like most things, it means different things to different people. To a lot of you, it may mean a day that you think you should have off of school. And for that, well, I'm sorry, and we'll get through this together. To some businesses, it may mean a time that they offer discounts to veterans. and reasonably hope that they'll come back in the future. To some people, it may be a time to reach out to a veteran in their life and thank them for their service. To me, Veterans Day is about community. This community has always been really great about thanking its veterans. And whenever I am thanked, it's a very humbling experience. There are men and women stretching back a long time who have done extraordinary things in service of this great nation. To be included among them makes me reflect on all the things that I am thankful for. I am thankful for my time in the service. The military has given me more than I will ever be able to repay, from an education to a job, and most importantly, a chance to meet my wife. I hope that I can serve in such a way to make me worthy of all these opportunities that I have had and will have. However, my thanks on this Veterans Day does not begin and end with the military. I am thankful for my family, friends, and this community that has supported me and countless veterans before and since. This community that has always been and felt like home. Veterans come in all shapes and sizes, and the experiences of our veterans can vary greatly. Sometimes that might make it difficult to know how to approach a veteran or what topics are appropriate to discuss with them. It might make us uncomfortable or concerned that we could make the veteran uncomfortable. But sometimes it's good for us to do things that make us uncomfortable. Asking a veteran about their experience and showing a genuine interest in their life story can even go a lot further than a thank you. When I was a junior here at PHS, I had the opportunity to spend some time in Washington, D.C. While there, I visited the Korean War Veterans Memorial, and I encountered a gentleman who looked like he had served in that conflict. I thanked him for his service. He got a little choked up as we shook hands, and then we went about our day. Yet I still wonder, what was his time in the service like? What was his job? What was his rank? What were his thoughts about the war that he fought and sacrificed in? And all I had to do to get an answer to those questions was ask. And that conversation could have helped us form our own community that maybe I could have brought back here and helped make this community stronger. For veterans, I think it is important that we engage in these conversations as often as possible without forcing our service on others. Less than 10% of the American population has ever served in the military. However, that does not mean that less than 10% of the population can ever appreciate or understand what that service means. We should share our experiences when we can. Sometimes it's challenging. We all know that veterans use funny words and acronyms that some people just don't get. And sometimes it's uncomfortable. I know that when I'm thanked for my service, I often respond by thanking that person for paying their taxes and keeping me employed. And while that's easy, it doesn't always lead to a good communication and a stronger sense of community. And that communication is fundamental to making our community stronger. Not every conversation with a veteran has to be or should be momentous. They're just people a part of our community trying to make it better. But when the time comes, our stories can contribute to a more unified and strong community. Sometimes being in the military results in us being called to leave our homes. But our homes never have to and never should leave us. On this Veterans Day, I am grateful for this community, our community, that I have always carried with me and that has carried me with it. I am grateful for the community that will continue to do that for countless veterans. I am grateful for the veterans that return to our community and make it even stronger. Thank you.
Thank you, Sean. Just a word, if you'll partake. As I awoke this morning and thought about our Veterans Day program, perhaps more so than any year, I had a sense of excitement for this simple reason. This is the first time since I've been at Plymouth that I've had the opportunity to welcome back two of the alumni who graduated during my tenure here at Plymouth. Sean was a 2008 graduate, my first year. We're going to be meeting Ensign Meagan Barron in just a little bit. And a great sense of pride fell upon me as I thought about today's program. After hearing Sean speak, is there any wonder that I felt such a sense of pride? Once again, please thank Sean Flynn. Next up, we have a wonderful rendition of Who Are the Brave by Joseph Martin, once again performed by our men's ensemble under the direction of Mr. Van Antwerp. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, Mr. Van Antwerp. That was fantastic. In case you're wondering, or maybe you're aware, as we're waiting to set up with our band for our next piece, if you want to see something really entertaining, visit YouTube. This group of gentlemen right here are becoming quite famous with their ad-lib videos, a la what Jimmy Fallon does on The Tonight Show. Another round of applause for this group. As we prepare for our next piece, we do have several special people here today, and we either have already met them or we will be. I do want to take an opportunity just to say hello and thank you, and I love you to my hero. For the first time since I've been a principal in 23 years, my dad is present this morning. Dad, would you raise your hand? That's my dad, everybody. And absolutely love him. Would not be where I am if it weren't for my dad and my mom, of course, and I'm thrilled that you're here today, Dad. Thanks again. Next part of our ceremony is one that we look forward to every single year. It is our medley of military tunes, which recognizes each branch of the military service. It's going to be performed by the Plymouth High School Band, which is seated up top under the direction of Mr. Brian Ames. Veterans, we ask that when you hear your song, that you do your best to stand. You may salute, or you may just stand comfortably. And at the same time, as the band is playing that very important and famous tune, students, if you would just join in a golf clap at the beginning of that in recognition of those veterans standing, we would appreciate that. When your song is done, you may reassume your seat, and the next group will then stand. Thank you. Mr. Ames. Wonderful job by our band. Mr. Ames, thank you once again. A round of applause for our students. The next part of our ceremony is our annual wreath presentation. Before we do that, I want to draw your attention to one of the presenters that we have not formally introduced yet. Two of our graduates present today, again, are Sean Flynn, who we've already met, and Ensign Barron. Let me tell you a little bit about Meagan. Meagan was the first student that I ever met at Plymouth High School in the fall of 2007. And as I reflect on my relationship with Meagan, which was always special, because she was a leader from day one, I'll never forget the question she asked me early in her career at Plymouth High School. She asked me, Mr. Condon, do you think that leaders are born or are they created? And I wasn't expecting that from a 15-year-old at that point in time. It really made me think. I've never had that thought leave my mind. And as I had the opportunity to speak with Meagan this morning, I took great pride in listening to her opinion on how leaders are born and developed. A little bit about Meagan. She graduated from Plymouth High School in spring of 2011. She commissioned into the United States Navy in 2015 from the Virginia Military Institute and Mary Baldwin College. Upon graduation, Ensign Barron deployed with the amphibious assault ship, the USS Essex. The Essex Amphibious Ready Group's flagship conducted strike missions in Iraq and Syria in support of Operation Inherent Resolve, or OIR, during her deployment to the 5th and 7th Fleet areas of operation. Ensign Barron is a surface warfare officer currently stationed in San Diego. She currently works in the Operations Department as the Operations Intelligence Division Officer. Please welcome Ensign Barron. Our wreath presentation will be presented by Meagan and Sean at this time. We ask that you please stand. The wreath takes the appearance of a ring, and the ring is reflective of the cohesive bond of our United States, always and forever demonstrating the close-knit circle of unity that we've had, we have, and we will continue to strive for. Presentation of the wreath. This concludes our annual Veterans Day program. I want to thank the many people who contributed to making this happen. First, I want to congratulate our Plymouth High School class officers under the direction of Haley Church and Kelsey Flynn and Amy Porteous for their efforts to organize this. A round of applause for those individuals. I want to thank our performing arts groups, our men's ensemble, of course, our band, and our outstanding instructors for the tremendous job they did once again. I want to thank Meagan and Sean once again for being with us today. I hope you understand how absolutely proud I am of you and will always be. Thank you for being with us this morning. To Mayor Mark Center for his continuous support of Plymouth High School. Mayor, you don't know how much I appreciate you. Most importantly, to the special guests who are with us this morning in presence or in thought. Through your dedicated service, we're able to live a free life and have choice on a daily basis. At this point in time in our history, as we go through some transition, it has never been more present how important it is to have the opportunity to make those choices. We know that although we live a life of freedom, that freedom is never free. Students and staff, please join me in thanking our guests, our military veterans. That concludes our program, but I need a commitment from those that are seated on the floor. I'm going to guarantee you that I'm going to try to be back here next year, and I ask for the same commitment from each and every one of you, and bring a friend as well, okay? Students, we are going to end our convocation at this time. We ask that as you leave the gym, you do so peacefully, and if you'd like to, please come down and express your gratitude for those who have served. Thank you very much for being with us, students.